It turns out, if you don't already have that grid burned into your brain like the masters do, fisheye perspective feels almost impossible. But after studying how the greats actually use it, I found a few techniques, tools, and small decision-making tricks that can make this whole process way easier. So, let's get into it. To even get close to something like 10% of Kim Jung-gi's skill, I knew I had to start with the basics, the grid. Again, you can easily find curvilinear grid brushes online, so just grab one and start practicing. What I did was simple. I started stacking cubes inside that grid space, trying to build something that feels like a real environment. To truly understand fisheye perspective, there are two key ideas you need to get. First, distortion is strongest at the edges of the lens, not the canvas. So if your center is here, the distortion increases as you move outward. One side might feel more stretched than the other depending on your framing. Second, fisheye exaggerates depth. Things closer to the camera feel way closer. Things further away feel even more distant. That's what gives it that dramatic, almost surreal look. Once I got comfortable, I turned off the grid and kept stacking cubes. And that's when I hit a problem. It looked fake, like empty, unnatural, almost like a backroom scene. When you look at artists like Kim Jung-gi, there's chaos, but it's controlled chaos. Everything feels random, but still connected. So how do you make your work feel like that? The answer is balance. Most elements should follow the perspective grid. That's what keeps everything grounded. But what makes it feel natural is adding small, intentional misalignments. Things like characters, wires, clothes. These elements break the grid slightly. That contrast is what makes the scene feel alive. At that point, I realized something important. The grid isn't a prison. It's scaffolding. It's there to support your drawing, not control it. Once I got used to that, I started practicing rotations inside the space. But before that, I had to build my visual library, because let's be honest, we don't naturally see fisheye views in real life. Without references, you're just guessing. Artists like Demizu Posuka are incredible examples of fisheye done right. If you look closely, the environment, buildings, shelves, structures, all follow the grid. But the characters? They break it. And that's where things get interesting. To understand that, you need to think in 3D. Every object can rotate on different axes. Z rotation is easy, we see it all the time. But X and Y rotations? That's where things get tricky, because we don't experience them as often in real life. That's why I focused on practicing cubes rotating in those directions. Pro tip, make each side of your cube a different length. It helps you see the rotation clearly. Now let's talk about something even more important. Camera angles and posing. Every character can be simplified into boxes. In fact, the entire body can start as a single box. And this matters because fisheye isn't just about distortion, it's about how you place the camera. Some artists place the camera in completely unconventional positions, and it works. Take Idoka Taiga for example. Their shots feel insanely dynamic because the camera is placed right in the action. The horizon is slightly tilted. The perspective feels unstable in a good way. If you struggle with this, using 3D tools can help a lot. You can rotate your character in space, tilt the camera, and understand how everything interacts before drawing it. Also remember, when you rotate an object, it creates its own perspective grid. That's why things can feel so complex. Another key element here is foreshortening. For cylindrical forms like arms and legs, drawing simple circles helps you understand how they compress in perspective. Even professionals use this trick in their sketches. And finally, posing. Characters often break the grid to stand out. But if you want them to feel grounded, align them more with the environment. That's why in Kim Jung-gi's work, many characters are standing or sitting. It makes it easier to build complex scenes. At the end of the day, it all comes down to what you want. More action break the grid. More realism follow the grid. But none of this will work if your fundamentals aren't strong. Because at its core, this is all built on understanding form and anatomy. So if you want to level up your art even faster, make sure you check that out next. And yeah, see you in the next one.